Hello, hello, hello. We're going to do the 1st of December astrology. First, I want to say I hope all of you have had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family, your friends, and however you celebrated it. Just remember, there's a lot of people that don't have family or have lost family recently, as myself, that having that person there on that now here at the holidays is very difficult. First Thanksgiving, first Christmas, first New Year's, all these first, until this first year is going over, there will be times when you're going to feel up, times when you're going to feel down, and you're not going to really understand why, other than you know that somebody is missing in your life. And believe you me, it's not that they wanted to leave, it was just their time. And that is something we have to learn to accept. We're all here for a period of time, and when that time comes, we have to pass on or move and transit to that other place. I know I looked at my mother's, and she was a Cancer, and I don't know if I said this in the other announcement, but the moon was in conjunct with Pluto at the time of her death. Now, we all know that Pluto has a meaning to it of something coming to an end, a transformation, makeup, I'm sure that I didn't say that right, but I'm trying to gather myself back together again and be able to, move forward. So, but the moon was in conjunct with Pluto, and that was her ruling planet, was the moon. And so it was time. I have some wonderful memories with her. A lot of it has to do with doing this, because I know a lot of times she was working, and she would come by here, and some of you would remember she would come in to the house, and I'd say, "Mom, I'm doing a live feed. You want to say hey?" And she'd say, "Hey," and she'd go there and get a magazine and start reading it, looking through it. And she'd make little comments. So I have those memories with her as well, but I'm trying to get back on track here. I'm sorry if some for you others, you have my condolences as well, because I know how difficult it is. The loss of a parent. My father's been gone 34, 35 years now, and I still miss him. Still wish he was here, I could talk to. I hope you all are hearing my voice is coming through. I know I'm going to be getting a new microphone come Sunday, and I'm going to have to change things out, and hopefully it will be better than having this thing I've got to fight with all the time overhead. But I hope it works out good, and everything starts moving forward now. I'm trying to. I'm really hard. I mean, I sat here and I was real nervous about starting, and I'm like, just breathe. And it was hard to breathe. So anyway, like I said, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Keep those in mind that don't have the families and the friends. And sometimes it's a choice to be alone during these times as well. And it can be very depressing for a lot of others. I want to give you all this time right now of saying Merry Christmas, peace on earth, and I hope all is joy to you all. And just the reminder of that dove on top of that tree and that light shining upon it reminds me of joy and peace and harmony in this world. And I think we all should strive for that in our life, wherever you find it and how you find it, that you all begin the process of finding that peace and joy in life. I know I'm doing it. I'm trying to do it. Sometimes you have to realize there's others around you that can come into your life and disrupt that peace and joy. And sometimes you just got to close the door on it and say, I'm not dealing with this. It's not welcomed here. Unless it's someone that's really, truly close and they're having a problem and you want to help them. That's totally up to you. But let's go ahead and start into this first astrology report. I'm going to try and get them out every day, put them up at midnight so you'll have it. So if it's your morning coming up for you, wherever you are in this world, you get it from the early morning or the start of that day, and it transcends further. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump over to it, and you can see I have up here. I have December the 1st here, and we're going to start out with the first event that happens at 1:10. I'm on the East Coast of the United States, so I'm putting my times in there because it's easier for me. Please adjust to your timing, okay? Um, so this could go for you if you're ahead of me, a day ahead of me, then it'll be experiencing later, or you've already experienced something there. The first thing we're going to talk about is the two, uh, one planet, one element, uh, is going to be Jupiter, which is in Gemini, still retrograde, and Lilith. Lilith is conjunct with Vesta right now. And trying to see if I have, give me a minute here. Okay. Um, um, I'm trying to remember. Where did I put that? Not there. That's not what I want. Um, Here we go. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Forgive me. Like I said, y'all got to bear with me here. Vista, let's go with Lilith first. And Lilith is that, it's the black moon. And I use the mid Lilith, and this is connected to your inner shadow. But it also is the area where you put your foot down, you set the boundaries, and that has a lot to do with Saturn as well. But and expressing your anger at times, if it's there. Also, it relates to your authority, your sensuality, and your sexuality. Um, to openly resist or refuse to obey. Um, so that's a little bit about the Lilith I use. I use the different one. I know the other one is called, the black moon, but this is called the black moon as well. But this is everything I try to use is dealing with the personal person. Where you see the Lilith mid, it's different from the black moon. Like I said, is where it's just connected to you and that inner shadow you have. Even the nodes I have here, I have them as the mean nodes, meaning that is dealing with the person. So try to keep it in that area, instead of like the black moon Lilith and its secrets and how it keeps things in the dark and all this, and it takes light to bring something out. But this is your inner shadow, not the outer shadow that deals with everything that's going on in the world. Um, so I try to keep it where it needs to stay. Now it's conjoined here with Vista. And Vista is in astrology is the keeper of that spiritual flame. It represents the feminine energy, creative energy, and allows you to dedicate or have that dedication to aspirations, your plans, and your goals. It shows like that nun like or a really dedicated spiritual devotion to a cause, a project, a person, or a belief that is sacred to you. So, right now, with this going on and all that's happening here, with these two being conjoined in this connection, um, it's like you're devoted to something here, or the partner, or however this may be. It's the seventh house. It's the individual that you deal with. Okay, say you're Aries, and this is your seventh house. You'll count where you are, and this will get more when we get into the tarot that I'll be looking at this. But is having that spiritual devotion to something that's that inner shadow in you, that you just don't want to obey what other people or have anything forced on you. You're I don't want to say obsessed, but to something here. You're just dedicated to something, and you don't want to obey, or you don't want to go along with what everybody else is doing. This is sort of that one on one in the seventh house, because the first house is the self, the fourth house is the family, the seventh house is that individual connection that you have, and then we start talking about your outer life, your world outside of where you're in with your careers, your schooling, your jobs, your groups, all that, and how you focus on things. All this, I would say, would be society in itself here, that you would be dedicating yourself to. You could be dedicated to a group project or something. But with this being here, is like you're dedicated to something that you're doing on a one-on-one basis, um, that you want to resolve something, do something. It is the South Node here, and the South Node being that of uh, the past and resolving things, or finishing things that you were dedicated to. Questioning whether maybe should I, if I'm dedicated to this anymore, do I need to let it go, move on from it? Um, because we're all supposed to be moving toward the North Node, which is our future. And Chiron is there, but there's something here with the first house where we have to heal in this area, wherever it may be for you, wherever Aries sits and whatever house it sits in. That's the area that you're working on. That's dealing with something from the past. So keep that in mind. Remember, the houses don't really move. They don't. They sit there. Taurus could be in the first house. It would be a Taurus and um Scorpio in the seventh house. So it depends on where the astrology, because of the Earth sitting here in the center and rotating, and where that sets. So keep that in mind as well. But the main thing we're talking about here is dealing with this Jupiter, which is the expander. Okay. It's benefic, and it wants growth, it wants expansion, but with it being retrograde, it's weak right now. Um, Maybe too tired. Maybe you've burned up so much energy in something in the past. Maybe it's time now to let it go. Is it really worth um working on something again, or is it time to let that go? Now, this is interesting because Mercury is retrograde as well. Both of these two are retrograde. but they're in polar opposite houses. Now, there is a thing in astrology that if they can also flip, where actually the mind is exploring taking some sort of action on growth or expansion, revisiting something. Remember, retrogrades are, while they're weak, uh, they don't have all the energy to them. They're resting planets. Um, and so we're just revisiting things that maybe we try to expand on. Or is it, we're talking about two mutable signs here. So is how do I adapt to something I didn't achieve, didn't accomplish, didn't want to let go of? I held on to it too long. Um, maybe it's time now to let it go, but I'm not sure. So this is where this is really trying to help in some way. And there is a trine from Jupiter over to Lilith, but Lilith is being bolstered. Do I still have this dedication to this? Am I still clinging on to something I should really let go of because there's an opposition to Chiron here? Is it really going to benefit me in the future? And this is the time that you may need to think about this. Okay. And see if it's really what you want to hang on to the future. Or is this time for you to let it go and heal from it? Because Chiron's weak too. Maybe it's been a long, difficult time of healing. Lord, don't I know a lot about the healing part? Okay. What we have is we have also here a grand trine, and it has to do with um, um, it has to deal with the part of fortune. Okay. Now the part of fortune deals with, if I can find it. There it is. Oops, don't want to show. The part of fortune is a point in an astrological chart. Okay, points here, and that's where it's at. That is a that is calculated mathematical calculation based on the positions of the sun, the moon, and the ascending. And the ascendant is here with it, and it's symbolizing the area of life where one can find happiness, success, fulfillment, with a sense of that abundance and well being. Now, that kind of goes with what I was just talking about with this uh, conjunction of, or this trine, that maybe it may be that time where this mathematical calculation spiritually, because 9 to me is Holy Spirit, and the moon also in a trine with Mars. So maybe it's time to take that action to say, I got to change something here in my life. It's not working. I want the fulfillment. I want the happiness. I want all that, but it may be that it's it's just not it's just not time to keep clinging on to it. Um, so it's, with this here and this coming up, you know, it's determining something here in Virgo being the worker bee. I always call it the worker bee, or an, the analyst, um, where there's something maybe you might have to work through alone. Uh, Sometimes, we got to deal with it. And you can see this is right here at that point of going from where Jupiter is, part of fortune, and it's going into Mars. So I'm kind of feeling like we're going to be doing some things, changing some things, maybe releasing some things or people or uh, ideals or dreams or whatever we were so devoted to it at one time, it may be that it could be something even so simple. Because I found a lot of this stuff uh, can be simple little things that we think, is hard. The next one we have here is we have the hmm, we have the ascending, which is over here in Virgo, security, analyzing, maybe somewhat critical as well, or cynical. But we have a grand trine between the ascending and Venus and Uranus. What is this pointing to? It's pointing to Venus. So there could be something here. Earth, Earth, Earth is all connected. And Uranus is retrograde as well. So it could be where the change is going to take place. You may take back that authority of yours and say, it's time for me to take back the control of my life and not be obsessed with something here that I've been devoted to for so long that it hasn't gone anywhere. It's not doing anything. But this would be the greatest time to release whatever it is within you, within your DNA, in you, to say, you have the authority to let whatever this is go that is not healthy or not positive, something very positive, something that's grounding, that you may need to look at. All of us is going to be doing that, looking at something here and saying, is it worth it anymore? And with a grand trine means it's something with ease, that now you can take back the power and the control of this new moon. And you have the authority to do that within yourself. God's given you that divine right, even as our Constitution says, we the people, we have the right. So, I look at that in that way. There's also something here with this T square, you can see here, it has to do with Mercury, has to do with the part of fortune, and also Jupiter. So this little triangle is pointing toward that part of future that you're thinking about. And remember, these two can switch. Like I said, when you've got one planet in the house of the other ruler that's opposite you, then these can flip. Meaning, this would be very easy for you right now at this time to not struggle with something. You can rethink it. Because there's something with the mystic rectangles that are going here. You see, there's 3 of them, okay? And they cross at times, and especially here. It's all dealing with this Mercury and Jupiter and about the past, about the future. You can see it, and action needs to be taken. And these are sextiles here, and these are trions here that can help you move through something and change it. Or that Pluto is going to do something if you don't make the change yourself and take back your authority and be authentic in what it is you want to do. This is something very spiritual. When I see mystic rectangle, is telling me that there's something magical here that you can deal with, and you're not alone in it. That's the point. You're not alone in whatever your struggle is here. But Pluto will come in and tear it down if you don't change it yourself. And it's almost like a child go up and touch a stove or something, does something, and it hurts when they were told, don't touch it. and they didn't listen, then that's kind of like what Pluto does. It brings it to an end, whether you want it to end or not. If you don't make the change and follow the path that's better, of least resistance, that's basically what it's like, the least resistance, and be authentic about it and real with yourself about it, and that shadow, and deal with what that is within you that you got to deal with about your past into the future, it's going to be harder. It's going to be tougher. It's going to be more painful. It's like the death of my mother. I knew it was coming. As bad as I did not want to accept it, I knew it was coming. So it's been a little more harder for me to mourn because I knew it was already coming. And I had to learn to accept it, even though that dark shadow in me still wanted my mama. So it's something here as a divine intervention that's trying to help you and get you through it. So if you accept it, things are going to change. This is going to be my life now, and I'm going to have to adjust to it in some way. And accept the change. That the past is no longer the future. It can work out a lot better for you. Like I said, it's the path of least resistance. We also have Mercury in opposition with Jupiter. I talked about that because of that T square that it's creating. You may not want to see the change, but you've got to face it. Opposition here, opposition here. It's a healing process. And these sextiles, there's help there to get you through it. You're never think in this world that you're alone, because you're not. There's a higher being and a higher power that's trying to help you through something that you're being faced with that is kind of difficult. But if you get over these oppositions and realize that this is the new, and not stop resisting, because like I said, Pluto can be so devastating unless you just surrender to it. It will come and snatch it away from you, and it's going to hurt even harder than you saying, okay, I'm ready to let this go. That's like my battle I had with my own spirituality. I've fought it. I resisted it. I until all of a sudden it says, hey, it's time for you to really look at something here. You're not alone through whatever you're going through. And it was through my worst part of my life. So, I finally realized that. And as soon as I realized it, and I took back my own power and said, okay, I'm not fighting this anymore, life's been a lot better. I got over the opposing. Remember, the oppositions are like playing that tug of war. I'm going to still hang on to it. No, I want this. But everything that you're doing here is all of it is you've gotten to the point where you're so weak. You don't have the energy, as I didn't have the energy to fight it anymore. And finally, I turned myself over. I mean, I was always a true believer, but sometimes I always thought, well, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. Well, sometimes you can't. We have another one here that has to do with Mercury and Jupiter and Lilith. One of them's dealing with Chiron and Vesta, and the other one is dealing with Chiron to Lilith. That is talking about that devotion you had to something here was so strong And it was that dark shadow within you that just would not release. Now it's time that you can surrender it, because now you're going to be moving forward. You're going to have this new calculation that's coming with this new moon of the Holy Spirit. And that's what I call it, because that's what it is to me when I'm looking at a planet at number 9 degrees to this 21. Something is going to come into completeness. That's what 21 is for me. And you can see it's a trine between Venus and Uranus and the part of fortune and Neptune. So now it's retrograde. It will be going direct soon. It's only going to have 6 more days. So into that second week of December, it's going to be going direct. It'll go stationary. It'll sit and gather its energy up. It's been resting. And now you can start with these new dreams. So about the second week in December, you'll be able to start to begin the new dreams and working through the, hey, now with this new moon that's taking place on December the 1st in Sagittarius, now you can explore other options. Now you're on this new journey, this new beginning. And there's a hand there. There's the hand of God right there with you, giving you the helping hand, loving you, blessing you to make the change. You're not alone. I promise you, you are not alone. We also have another kite here. Like I said, this makes up a trine. This makes up sort of a sextile. There's help there with the trine. This is going to be easy when this goes direct. Just rest right now. Rest and take your power back. Know that you're loved. Know that you're cared about. You were created for something special here, and it's on the horizon. It's just on the horizon. It's not quite there yet, but when that goes direct, then the next thing you're going to see is Jupiter and then Uranus, and these are going to go direct, and then we're moving forward. There's no holding back then. The last one, we have another kite here. We do have the opposition. Some of you may not believe this. Some of you may be denying it, or you may still be in that resistance. You're, opposition to something else. If you keep clinging on to what was in the past and not letting it go, you're going to have more and more difficulty. More and more. Now, the next thing we have at 121 is we have the new moon. We still have the kite system here, both of them. We have the 3. Now, what you notice here that's disappeared is the struggle, because now it's the new moon. 11 minutes later, and think about those numbers, 11. It's time to give up the struggle, the challenge. Squares are difficult, very difficult. But it's not there now. It's been taken and lifted off of you. If you surrender it, like I've had to, surrender to my own spirituality, that I kept saying, well, I can handle it. I can do it. And I'm like, no, you can't. You can't do anything in this world alone. I mean, there's some things you can do that's, everyday life. But the harder things you go through and the harder that something's put on you, you're not going to have to deal with it alone. If you surrender it, life goes so much better. I know, been there, done that. And you can move in this new future, new dreams. But you've got to take control. Don't let that shadow that's within you overcome you. take back control. Be authentically who you are. The next thing we have here is at 121 too, and it shows you the conjunction with the moon at 9 degrees with the sun. There's your new moon. It's the first day of the new moon. Awesome, huh? This is your new beginning. If you're on the East Coast, the sun's going to rise at a 7:11. All right. Anytime that ascending comes up with close to that sun, or they can join together, sun's rising. So anytime you see that in astrology, you can look and see that, hey, sun's wherever you are is when it's going to come up. You can see the day here, the night. The night belongs to Mercury. The hour right now is Mars. We're at the 24-hour point, first day of the moon. So there you go. So that gives you a little thing you can look at when this ascending comes upon. That's what's coming up. That's what's rising. Now the rest of the day is going to be probably quite emotional, depending on wherever you're at. For me, it will be day in this. For you, it may be going into the nighttime. The rest of this, wherever you are in the world. We have the moon squaring Saturn, okay? While it is conjunct with the sun and Mercury. This is where you may need to set, it is direct. You may be setting up boundaries. See, it's all mystical. I told you. Look at all the mystical here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Something mystical is going to happen on this day. And it starts out with that ascending, that mystical rectangle that's going on here. Now that the daylight's there, Chiron, Jupiter, and Vesta. It's time to heal. Stop fighting it. We have the other one with Jupiter, sextiling to Chiron. Lilith, sextiling to the ascending. This is what's on the rise. Look at all this here that's sitting here in Sagittarius. And what rules this is Jupiter. It's the godlike planet. It's the Christ planet that it's known of. It's often been called that. That actually protects us, those inner planets. It's there to help, not hurt, not harm. Oh, just a minute. Remember, it is benevolent, meaning it's good, it's growth, it's potential. But it's also sort of letting and surrendering those worries, surrendering those things that you kept hidden inside of you, that you know you need to let it go. Stop fighting it. Because now with this next one, you have with the midheaven here in opposition to the future. This is where you can set with the foundation. Because remember, this is what's on the horizon here. This would actually be here in the first house. Because the new moon's going to be in Sagittarius. So it's going to be here. This is going to be up here. Remember the saying of as above, so below. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Because it's going Um, yeah, this is up. This is descending as the way it looks right now, but this would be here. So yeah, that would be here. So it's time because Pluto's looking at it and it's looking at the past. The past is done. It's over. Stop reliving it. You're just torturing yourself. Then we have the South Node and the North Node. It's telling you that it's time. You either do it on your own and surrender, take that action to surrender, be aggressive about it, moving forward, and you're going to have a wonderful future. I don't want to see anybody suffering because I was there myself a few years back, trying to do everything on my own, trying to do this, trying to do that. But the thing is, you can't always do things on your own. Uh-oh. Sorry. Got a message come up. You don't have to. And when I realized, yeah, I need other people to do things that I am not capable of doing. And if it's having to search those people out, then I had to search them out. But with my spiritual journey I was on, I started getting those messages that just didn't make sense to me, but I had to listen to them. It was telling me something I needed to do. And that's exactly what it's doing with you. It's telling you something here that has to deal with Saturn. That's telling you whatever you're struggling with in the government or the legalities or whatever's going on in this world or what your life is structured out right now, and you're dealing with it and it's difficult. If you surrender those things, this is really about surrendering big time. Your life's going to go so much better. You would not believe it. You're going to have so much peace and harmony and balance in your life and fulfillment like you've never seen before. I know times are difficult. They have been for me for years. Can you imagine going through 8 years of one difficulty after another, after another, after another? And the first part of that 8 years was me struggling. I would refuse to give it up, the control. But there was something I was taught through that spiritual journey in that second half. If you surrender this and you believe in me as what my God tells me and have faith in me, I will guide you to the right people or institute or whatever you need to go to, whatever you need. I will fulfill your needs. But you got to trust me. You got to have faith. And I did. And when I started that, life went good. Life went good. And it's getting better every day. But doesn't mean you have to give up control of yourself to others. You still have to stand your ground. If you know something is wrong and it's tempting that shadow within you, you got to put it down. You got to just, this is where that Lilith comes in and says, no, no, I'm not going that way. Be honest. That is exactly what Pluto demands of you, to be authentic and say, no, I'm not going to accept what you tell me. I've been going through this here the last few days and looking at this. I can see it. That no, don't give your power away. If it's not right, it's not right. Stand your ground. Be authentically who you are and show it. You don't have to be mean and ugly about it. Unless somebody keeps pushing you, then this is where you could get that sort of anger rises. That the part you really don't want to go and say, I don't care what you say, you're not pushing me in that direction. It's not for me. And it's not what I want for my life. Don't be weak during this time. Growth comes from you being authentically who you are and not allowing to take something just because it's thrown at you and bow to it. Let me tell you, you don't have to bow a knee to anyone in this world. No one. Only your creator. And that's the way I look at it. My faith, that's the only thing I have to bow down to and that I will bow a knee to. And if I had someone to teach me years ago when I was younger about this, I mean, I didn't bow down really to anyone, but because I always kind of went my own direction. But there was always that little hesitant, that little dance you do 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, that little dance you do. And I struggled with it. Always had the faith. I just wasn't living it. And that's what got me into trouble because I would, feel I have to say, well, they're who they are and, they're the power. They got all the power. No, no. You don't have to surrender to someone on this earth. The only thing you surrender to is your creator, and that's it. And he will guide you. He will show you a better world, a better life. You wouldn't believe it. It's been working for me. Because sometimes you just got to learn that 2 little letters that you're not taking it anymore. And you need to stand up, put your feet firm on the ground, and say no. No. A lot of people are afraid to say no. Why? It's just two little letters, N and O. No. I forgot that from a long time ago. So you need to think about it. Don't let somebody else monopolize your life or your time or your day, pushing you around everywhere. And you're just like, well, okay. No. Now we have it with Mercury. You're going to have some people that's going to keep trying to push on you. They'll test you. It's like a child. They will test a parent's boundaries that the parent sets down. And you have to stand firm. If it's no, it's no. There's limits, restrictions that you're going to run into, and you're going to have to say, I don't accept it. You don't have that control over me. Only one thing has that control over me. And always pay attention up here when I'm changing, that you can see the day, what's going on. This is Monday. It's ruled by the sun. It's the first hour of the day, but it's the second day of the moon. We're going into that because this is 7:48 in the evening. I'm sorry, no, in the morning. It's the second day for the moon. Because remember, there's only 8 hours in a day or a period of time. Okay. And then you have the last one, which deals with Mercury. Again, Jupiter. Now remember, these two can flip. Don't be weak. If you got to say no, you got to say no. And it's Chiron to Lilith. You just don't fall into obeying whatever you're told or going along with whatever's said. People could be preying on that inner shadow you have, playing your emotions. Now, at 1:44 in the afternoon, this is definitely going to change. We still got these here, but look what we have here that's coming in. We have the Yod, which is often called the finger of God. It's pointing something out that this in Taurus is ascending, and it's coming closer and closer. The part of fortune was already conjunct with Uranus. So something was already calculated with the sun and the moon and the ascending now. There's a calculation here with trions or a quincunx. I'm sorry. There's sort of this struggle, and it's like, look for the signs. Look for the signs that's trying to show you something here. There's help here, and it's pointing you in the direction that something here is ascending that's going to change. 24 to me is a representation of God's law, not man's law. 12 is man's law, earth law. The moral conduct. Rely on God's law. Have the faith, because this is coming closer and closer. That something's going to be pointing out to you. So look for the signs at this time. We have another one here. It's dealing with Lilith and Vesta. Trying to show you something here that's already been predestined, pre-calculated, that's trying to show you something here. So look for those signs that it's given you. And then we have the Grand Trine, and it has to deal with this part of fortune. Don't let this leave and depart from you without you knowing, unless you really want to release it. And then, guess what? Then you've got this kite again. Something from the past that's dealing with your future. Building a new foundation, because the old one is not worth it anymore. You can surrender. We also have, this is going to be going direct. God's showing you his hand. And of his hand, he showed you something on the hand. What is connected to the hand? The fingers. Pointing you in a direction. So look for the signs. There may be something is said, or you may see something that kind of, you look at it and you're like, what? Why would I notice that? What is that telling me? It's something that is a wish, a hope, but it's the hand, the finger that I showed you earlier. Something is being pointed out to you about the past and your future, and where something could be very beneficial. Yes, we don't have to give up everything from the past. You don't have to give up your old visions, your old dreams, if there's something that's good. But we do have Pluto as part of this, and it's connected in with Venus. And it's about departing from something here that's being shown where there can be victory through a difficult time. It's how you're reacting to something here. There's some things you can take with you from the past, and then there's some things you just need to let go of. Whether it's the feelings, which I feel like it's the feelings, a lot of it is going on, because that moon being in opposition to Jupiter at this time, but it's being influenced. Something's being shown to you. And if you realize this is just something it's on my mind, and if you just maybe surrender something in there, you're going to see something completely different. Because remember, I said all this has to do with today has a lot to do with feelings. And it's maybe the influence of what you feel about something from the past that you need to surrender it. Release the feeling. I know you ever had that feeling. Let's say you have a feeling here about something that just doesn't quite feel right, or a suspicion you have of someone. You know, like my husband might be cheating on me. Oh, my boyfriend might be cheating on me. Oh, my girlfriend, this or that, or something said, and it just kind of hits you wrong because Mercury's either about thoughts or communication. But if you realize it's just something you're feeling, it may not be real. Don't get yourself caught in this trap. Don't get angry. Don't get aggressive. Don't take some action that you may regret later. Just acknowledge it to yourself that this just may be something I'm feeling that's there, it's in my head, and I can't let this overtake me. Don't be weak minded right now on this day. And this is at 4:02 in the afternoon. So remember, these are the times that this occurs. So you have to look at it and say, there's something here very spiritual for me. But I've got to realize something's trying to trap me in this dark shadow and not wanting me to heal from it. It's trying to keep me upset, angry, or you slip or slide back into an old behavior from the past, or whatever this may be. It's affecting that dark side of me because I've been there. I've thought one thing only to realize this is just the way I'm thinking because what kind of mood I'm in. So it's preying on my dark side to upset me. No, can't let that happen. It's trying to trick me. Something's trying to trick me here. Because remember, this is the opposition. It's baiting you, trying to bait you into something here. But if you realize I'm not going to take that action, we'll go forward in new behavior and a new way of thinking. I'm not going to go back to the old way of thinking because it did me no good. All right, then at 10:05, no, let's see, it's 18, it'd be 6, 7, I think it's 8 o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We have the moon trying Chiron here. And we still have this all day long. Something here is trying to get you caught in some sort of struggle. Remember the trapezoid? It's playing with your feelings and your emotions, and you can't give into it. Both of these are dealing with the ascending here. There's something good happening here, a healing, if you don't let yourself get caught in something here. It's like, kind of like sometimes people will get fixated on someone or an ideal, a thought, or person. And in their mind, they're being played by something dark and ugly. Don't let whatever we all have a sort of a darkness within us, and it's called depression. It's called negativity. It's all the negatives stored inside you in that little darkness place of like the little devil, where you got the little devil on one shoulder and the little thing on the other shoulder, and it's telling you, um, oh gosh, hold on 1 minute. Sorry about that. Um, but don't let that all that little shadow part in you, that negativity in you, don't let it overconsume you. Okay? Read a book. Find something nice to do. Watch a good movie. Uh, something. Watch a comedy that makes you laugh. Take a long bath. Take a walk. Something that just kind of gets that out. Because the moon right now is conjoined with Mercury. Those two, Mercury and the moon, are come together, and they're using that energy and they're pulling the energy off from the sun. See it for what it is. Really bring in the healing. Look for the positive side, and there's where your healing comes in. Okay? Because as you can see, Chiron is in a trine with that energy of the moon and Mercury. Don't let you, it's a good, perfect time to find some positive things to focus on and heal. Uh, and then we also, like I said, we have the moon conjunct with Mercury. Don't let yourself get so caught up and be trapped in something here in the mind or the way you're feeling or whatever. Release it, because then you may end up looking at a long night of lack of sleep. And I, been going through that myself some, where my mind just will not shut down and it's thinking, thinking, thinking. And I'm like, leave me alone. This is a day to cling to your faith and know that things are going to be better. Get the positive outlook. The biggest thing with your mind is you can heal yourself if you think in a positive way. And don't let the shadow that lives within you, that little negative thing, do not let that seed grow. Look to the positive side. Okay? Break down that little shadow. Suppress it. Push it down. You've got the power in you to heal yourself by saying, I'm not going to let you consume me. I'm not going to let you overtake me. There's something more powerful in me than that shadow. There's so much more in me. Get out of the negativity. Get away from people that are negative. Pick up sounds. Biorhythm is the most perfect thing to heal. If you get a sound and it brings you, and you meditate on that sound and relax yourself, control your breathing. It's going to change your life. But you've got to do it. Take yourself to a place. Hold on. It's that time of year and I got that dry cough. Ugh. Be one with the spirit within you and take yourself to that happy place. When you start feeling the tension rising up and this dark shadow coming up, the best thing you can do is just breathe. Like me at the beginning of the video. I was nervous, terrified, had all these negative feelings, and I said, just breathe. Just breathe. Get it out. Exhale it. Don't let it consume you. Don't let it overtake you. Release it. Bring light to it. What are you afraid of? That's what I had to ask myself. What are you afraid of? You've done this before. It's going to pass. It will pass. There's something else I forgot that I meant to do, but I'll do it on tomorrow, the next one. Oh, dadgummit. I've lost my pen. That's all right. I have to go to the mouse. I'll find it. But I will give you times that will go into these, when these will enter and when they will pass. Okay, some of them don't last very long at all, but they'll try to come back again, and then it'll pass again, and then it'll come back again. It's just you're gonna have to learn how to control it. I mean, I was having to tell myself here, build myself up, and say, "You've done this before. What is wrong with you?" I guess being out of it for so long, and going through what I've just been through, I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous. And so I'm just had to do the breathing exercises, calm myself down, um, and say, What are you afraid of? Somebody's going to watch the video. If they don't, they don't. If they do, good. That's good for them. Maybe they're learning something here, getting something out of it. If it's meant to be, it will be drawn to them, or they will be drawn to it. If not, I'm not out here to be some something I'm not, and I'm not out here to just get clicks, and I'm not going to clickbait you and all this kind of stuff. I'm not going to put titles up there and all this kind of stuff to make you think this and I got to go look at that. No, I want you to see the reality of things. I want to help you and where you can grow and how to deal with those energies where of the shadow that lives within us. It's there for all of us. And there's a lot of people that's really letting that shadow, that darkness take them over and control them. That in a few years they're going to go, what in the heck was I doing? When I could have been having a good life. I'm missing the best opportunities there are. Because you can see all the mystical rectangles that's still here. It's a mystical day. It's a special day. Make the best of it. When you feel the shadow overtaking you, or whatever it may be, or whoever's trying to control you, get away from them and breathe. Breathe. And follow the right path. Okay? You're on it. You can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Believe you me. It's not rocket science. You don't need to have to consult with Elon Musk on how to fix something. You can do it all by yourself. Okay? You don't have to be that intelligent. It's very simple and it's very easy. You just got to surrender and breathe and know when you're on that roller coaster ride and it's going off, feels like it's going off the cliff, and you're going down in that gully or whatever you want to call it, that downward curve, just breathe and enjoy the ride. Okay? Love you all, and I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.